Hey there, welcome to my patch 4.3.2 Survival Hunter Guide. I'm going to cover your pet talents, your rotation priority, and some helpful keybinds I found. First off, I'm going to go over how to spec your hunter, but before I get into that, if I sound a little bit off, lispy, or whatever, it's because I just got back from the dentist and half my mouth is numb. But alright, let's get into this. I have found this to be the optimal build for straight damage with a little bit of utility. I mean, I'm no math whiz when it comes to this kind of stuff, and you got the people out there like, well, if you go 0.3% over the hit cap, and you get this extra like 0.75 DPS. No, I'm not like that. But what I did do is when the patch dropped, I did about 10 or so respecs, and found this to be the optimal build that I out of all the ones I did. And I also later found it to be the quote unquote cookie cutter build. But as you can see here, we got one with nature. That's gotta be mandatory. So much AP, and AP got buffed, and that's just ridiculous now. Sick'em, with how much we crit, that's just your pet's getting like free attacks. I mean, I'm not gonna go into details of everything. I mean, really the only things you could switch around is entrapment with maybe like 2 into hunter versus wild for like 10% more stamina. But I've found that sometimes on Blackhorn, the sapper will be entrapped and sometimes he won't. So I leave it in there just in case he does. You only want one in here because 9 seconds just really isn't worth it, and they'll lose out on something else that's really important. Sniper training, really, I mean, yes and no. Sometimes it gimps you because, as we know, you can't always just sit there for 6 seconds. But when you can, it's a huge boost. Next, I'm going to cover Glyphs. I know I forgot to mention this, but it's a full-on guide on how to play survival, but without all that fancy math crap you get on like elitist jerks and stuff like that. Alright, so I have my Glyph pane open already. Kill shot. Somebody out there is going to be like, well, if you use this other glyph, you'll get like a 75 DPS increase. But honestly, we've all been there. We're on progression fight. Boss is at like 10%, dropping, raids dying. You can get off more attacks in that end burn phase and do a lot more damage. You get off like your 40 to 60k shot, and that just really pushes it forward and really pushes it hard. And that really shoots up your DPS at the end. At least it does for me. Next, I have deterrence, so I can use my personal cooldown more often. I use the Glyph of Lesser Proportion just for the hell of it. Feigned Death reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. On a fight like your Saj Heroic, where sometimes you have to feign death those ads, that's really helpful. Disengage, if you can get away quicker, that's good. Like, I use it a lot on your Saj. I disengage towards the ad I'm going to kill. That really gets me there quick. I can usually get attacks as soon as it becomes attackable. The next one's Arcane Shot. You use that all the time. Why would you not have that? And then Explosive Shot. That if you don't have that, you're doing it wrong. And then Trap Launcher. So that way it doesn't use up 20 focus, it only uses 10, which allows me to AoE more because I don't have to waste 20 focus. I can just spam, 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 spam. Because, Hunter AoE is so hard. Pet talents. This is often overlooked by guides, and people usually forget about just how important your pet is and how your pet's talents are. On Ultraxian, for example, my pet is around 11% of my damage. Now, that's a lot of damage coming from your pet. And you want to make sure you have it spec'd right. What I usually do is I do this. I do Serpent Swiftness, Dash, Spiked Collar, Charge. Because when he goes in, your melee attack power of 25% for its next attack, that's great and all. And if you're doing a fight with a lot of target switching, your pet's charging all the time and it's on cooldown. Culling the Herd, that's a no-brainer. Spider's Bite, Rabid, and Call of the Wild. Now this is a major, major DPS cooldown. It's 5 minutes just like Rapid Fire, but it is amazing. Your DPS goes through the roof with this sub. And then I use Wild Hunt. Now I messed around with it and between Shark Attack and Wild Hunt, and I found Wild Hunt to be, I don't remember what the exact number was, but it does a lot more. Macros. Let me just open it up here. Alright, macros. Some of the macros that I use are my deterrence one. Let me just bring that up here. Deterrence. See, what this does is, if I'm in the middle of a cast and I have to quickly hit deterrence, it'll stop casting it. Let's say I have hand of protection on me for whatever reason. It'll cancel that out, and then it'll cast deterrence. And since I'm a dwarf, I have stone form macroed into it too, because stone form now does 10% less damage taking, and deterrence does 30%. So that's a 40% less damage I'm taking if I have like a dot on me or something like that, or if it's something, because in Dragon Soul, like, everything goes through deterrence, so that's really, really helpful. Another one I have is for concussive shot. It'll target the sapper on Blackhorn and then concussive shot it. Now I think just about every hunter has one of those though. I have a feign death one if I'm in the middle of a cast. Feign death. I have my PvP pet freedom one. I haven't really found a use for it. Maybe I will later in the heroic mode progression. I don't know yet. But I just figured it's good to have it there regardless. I have an all-in-one DPS cooldown. It's built up over the years, and I have absolutely everything in there, from Lifeblood for Herbalism, to Call of the Wild, to Rabid, to potions, you name it. I'm going to talk a little bit about key bindings. Now, I'm not going to bust your balls about it or anything like that, but I'm going to go over some things that I feel should be keybinded. If you're a clicker, whatever, that's cool. But if you keybind and you don't know what things you should have keybinded and roughly where, well, you want to go with whatever's comfortable. What I found comfortable was, straight up have my attacks right here, feign death right there, and then I have my deterrence on G so I can quickly hit it. If I need to, I can disengage with F. And I use misdirection with SQ, with Shift Q. And then for aspect swapping, I have it on my wheel up and wheel down, wheel up and S2. What that allows me to do is allows me to quickly shift from one to the other in mid-combat without having to click it and stop and all that other bullcrap that comes along with it. I also have trap launcher keybound, so I can quickly just do that and that. I also have all my traps, all 3 traps that I use keybound as well, along with my concussive shot with the sapper macro. Really, it's up to you what you want to keybind and where you want to keybind it, but I just figured I would let you know that that's something that I feel is relatively important, at least for me. I'm sure there's other things that could be keybound, but those I feel are the main ones. I'm going to go over a bit about gearing. When it comes to gearing, agility, hands down, best stat ever. I don't know the exact stat weight for it the number for the stat weight, but it's like 4 around there. It's just absolutely amazing. And fortunately, with Cataclysm, you don't have a damn choice whether or not you're going to stack agility or not, because agility is there. Now, when it comes to socket bonuses, usually if it is 20 or more agility for the socket bonus, you want to go ahead and grab that. Like as you can see here with my chest piece, my tier chest piece. I went and put 2 red gems in and then grabbed the orange gem, the 20 agi 20 crit. You don't want to get it if it's not. If it just comes along with it, just because it's red and you can put 40 agility in there, that's great. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about haste versus mastery, but I find that haste is better, at least it's more comfortable for me, because you get off a lot more Cobra shots, and in turn, because of the double focus gen from the tier bonus, you get off a lot more arcane shots, and a lot more global cooldowns during a fight means higher DPS. You also want to get your hit cap to around 8%. Other than that, it's really basically just, it goes like agi, crit, haste. Crit, crit, crit. Crit is very amazing, but you should reforge to crit if it doesn't have it on it. And you should reforge to haste if it has mastery. At least that's what I do. Now for the fun part, the rotation. Now, you can go ahead, look it up. People will tell you, Well, you want to put up Serpent Sting, and then you want Explosive Shot and Black Arrow on cooldown, and then use your Cobra Shot to build up focus and only dump it with the Arcane Shot when you get to X amount, and then sometimes you want to use your blah blah blah. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. Your priority system, whatever. That's all fine and dandy, but it's all a bunch of gibberish until you actually see it in action. I mean, I can sit here and explain it, but you won't understand it. The best thing for me to do is just to show you in action what I do. And it'll become a lot more sense. I mean, you can see me sitting here clicking my button and highlighting, and you know, you can figure out what I'm going to do. So that's what we're going to do for that. Alright, usually what I do, I will Hunter's Mark, pre-pot, send my pet in, hit my nuke macro after I Serpent Sting, and go to town. Alright, this is it in action. I'm not going to be talking for this. I'm just going to do it and let you see what I do. Alright, thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, leave me some feedback. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helped you out. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time for my next vid.